Okay, what do you mean by a volume? Any ideas, any thoughts? What is a volume?
No idea.
Okay. Okay, before moving ahead, whenever you are creating a private subnet with NAT gateway, you remember we click on that allocate elastic IP. When you click on that, it actually comes here, creates an elastic IP and attaches it to that NAT gateway, because NAT gateway needs a public IP for it to scrape the IP and send it over. Okay, plus it is already a public like instance that is kept instance, or a component that is placed in a public subnet, so which will anyways have a it it, it it will have a elastic IP. So every time whenever you're deleting this, go ahead and release this IP explicitly, else you will be charged for it. Okay, so whenever you are creating a private VPC, okay, you have deleted your NAT gateway, you have deleted your VPC, come here and delete your elastic IP too, else it will still be on your name, it will still be on your account, and you'll have to pay for it in the end. Okay, so make sure you are keeping that in mind. Okay,
Okay.
just 1 minute. Okay, guys, so we were talking about volumes, and since I have some time and I wanted to discuss these file systems with you today. Okay, uh, that's why let's understand how to read the documentation too, and we'll also understand how to create what is the like significance of these volumes. Now when you go to any of these instances, you see storage option. Did we select it? No. Even if you create a launch an instance now, it will ask you for a volume or a storage. Now why is it asking for a storage? Because if you have a laptop, you want to save a file, that file is, where is it saved? It's saved in some storage, in some hard drive, or drive disk attached on your machine, right?
Yeah.
Okay, even your mobile, when you say this much is the storage, this is expandable, which means that your Android system, your Android operating system also resides in that. Okay, if you talk about Apple, your iOS also resides in that, plus whatever data that you're generating also resides in that. Okay, now when somebody says this much is given and this much is expandable, okay, when say this much is available, it means that that is the volume that might be the root volume of the system, which means that it has operating system and other pictures. But later on you can attach a new hard drive or an extended hard drive, which will be attached on that system, and you can go ahead and start dumping your data in there as well, apart from the root device. Okay, because root device also has your operating system. Once your operating system is corrupt, it will corrupt the other files also. So if you have a extended hard drive also attached to it, you can remove that hard drive and attach it to another instance, another component, and then that data will be available there as well. Okay, so this is the case for all the volumes. So any instance that you create, okay, will have something called as a root device or a block storage, EBS volume. This was definitely going to be there for
Okay.
all the instances. Okay, whichever you create, you have created up till now or later, whatever. That's why whatever volume that you'll increase here will be increased on the system. Okay, let me try and see if I can log in into this system, or I'll create a new one. Let me create a new one.
I mean, is it not, suppose while launching, you use Ubuntu example. So that will have a by default some file system dev slash. So it is not that. Is ideally a EBS volume which
A
where.
volume that is attached to your instance always, even in your, like, that's why I'm always trying to reiterate the fact that it is very very similar to what you have in your systems. Okay, your machines, hard drives and all. Okay, we'll discuss about these hard drives more, we'll discuss about these volumes more,
Mhm.
whether it is EBS, EFS, what is the difference and all of that. We'll still understand it further, but before we do that, I want you to understand what it means.
Mhm.
Okay, I have attached a 10 GB GP2 kind of device. I have other options, that is provisioned IOPS, GP3. I'm going with a simple one. Okay, we'll understand more about these ones. These are general purpose ones. Okay, and this is when you have more and more input output operations. That means read and write on that system is, you need it fast. Okay,
Mhm.
right? Of course it is chargeable. It is like, this is higher charge, this is lesser than this at least, but this one will be the least one. There is something called as magnetic standard, that is least ones. Okay, this is like a magnetic disk. Okay,
Mhm.
this is basically some like, I'll talk about this later. This is basically an SSD.
Okay.
Okay, these two are SSDs, and this is a simple magnetic one. Okay, that we used to use before. So you can use this also, but generally people use, and this one which has these, which has decent charge, but is also give you will also give you decent IOPS as well. Okay, because for a disk, what is more important is input and output operations. If you are able to input and output that device faster, okay, then your system will be fast. Okay, if there is some like loading time and other time is more, then it will be like difficult for the system also. Even if you have high CPU, high memory, and you are not able to reach your disk, how will, what
Yeah.
if your process is writing something, how will it write? That write operation will take time. Okay,
Mhm. Okay.
so this is the whole point around this. Now let me go ahead and create this one. Once I create it, I'll log in into the system and show you how it looks like in the system. So here you'll see that storage is a EBS volume, EBS
Mhm.
optimization disabled, and it is of 10 GB. It is right now in attached state. It's
That.
attaching basically. So we'll just wait for it to be attached. Let me quickly go ahead and log in into the system too. Okay. So you should be able to map it to resources as well. That's what my point is. XVDA, come here. Wait, where is CDA? Like, this is the root disk. This is the device. It is attached currently. And where is the path? Path should be root because it's a root device, right? Yeah, root device. Okay. Okay, do you see the size here?
Yeah.
This is
Show
your
the
disk,
show the path
device.
in the EC2
But
console.
this is the disk size. Yeah.
In the console, just show the patterns. Dev.
Here, this is the device name here.
Okay.
Okay. It doesn't show the path because it's a root device, no?
Mhm.
Root device details. So root device is always on slash.
And how do we know it was XVDA something what you showed it? So that is the same.
Yeah, this is the same one.
Okay.
Can you see the
I got.
size?
Okay. Okay. Yeah, got it.
Okay. Now let me take you to volume. So this is how this is how volumes look like. This is my other machine's volume. This is my other machine's volume. Okay. I can take snapshot of this volume and share it over. If I want to take snapshot of this volume, then I'll have to stop the system so that there is no other process that's writing on this volume, and then I can take a snapshot easily. That would be always a better option, to take a snapshot of this volume. Okay. Why?
Okay.
Again, I'm reiterating the fact why it is important to stop the instances, because we want to make sure that there's no other process that's writing in the system. Else, whatever snapshot you'll take, it can be of corrupted state. Okay, always on the safer side, it's better to do that.
Mm.
IOPS for this is this one. Okay, and this is a snapshot with which it started. Okay, now let me try and create a volume and attach it. For now I'm simply doing it for the fact, for you to understand the understand the stuff. Okay, now it should be in the same availability zone as the instance, so I'll go to the instances once again. This is my instance. I want to check the AZ. This is my subnet. This is my AZ. So I'll have to make sure that if I want to attach it to this instance, I'll have to make this snapshot ID. If I want to, don't create volume from snapshot. I can encrypt this volume. If I encrypt this volume, I can give KMS keys. I'll talk to you about this in depth. Okay, that what is the whole point of having this encryption. Right now, by default, there's no encryption on any volume that we have created so far. Okay,
Okay. Okay.
because that's the default option. Now I've created a separate volume. Where is my new volume? One of these two. Okay, how will I identify it? Attached resources. Okay, there's no attached resource to this one, so definitely this is the new one that I've created. It's still in creating state. Let it be created. It's available right now. I will come here and attach this volume to this running instance. Is already in use. Let me use this one for now. Okay, now let me show you in LSBLK.
Okay.
Why? Okay, when we were attaching a volume, it was showing you that in earlier it was like it used to, in earlier instances it used to look very similar to what we see here. Okay, but now it is attached as XVD. Okay, so
Mm.
XVDD and 8 GB. So if I now like if I have to do something on this machine, then I'll have to mount it with a mount point and then attach it. Okay, that's a
Yeah.
certain process that we'll have to follow. But once we attach it to a mount point, you will be able to write. Your processes on this system will be able to write there if they have access, if user have access, or you can go ahead on this system and this disk and write stuff. Now once you write stuff, okay, you are done. Now you want to detach it, you can go ahead and detach it and attach it to another instance also. Okay, so
Mhm.
whatever you have written in this volume will now be available in that instance.
That instance, okay.
Okay. Now, generally, what we do is root device, we'll try to keep it minimal, that is 8 GB, and will not extend it further. If we have any of the stateful process, example, if I have a database, if I have something like even logs, okay, what I would do is I will create a volume, attach that volume here, and let the process write it on that volume and that mount point rather than this root device. Why so? Because every process initially writes on the root device only. It will not write anywhere else. Okay, until unless you explicitly mention. Now, what I've done is I've created a disk. I will attach that disk to a mount point, maybe slash data. Okay, run a database and let that database write in this. Okay, in this disk. Now, when it is writing in this disk, okay, even if my entire system goes off tomorrow, it is corrupted. Okay, you can
Yeah,
detach this hard drive and put it there until unless this hard drive is itself is corrupted, then you cannot do anything. Then you have to take a backup, snapshot, other mechanisms are there. Okay, but this is a simple option. Detach it, attach it somewhere else, let that also have the same configuration. That's it. Now
yeah,
that process will start writing it or reading it from this. Okay.
yeah, okay.
Also, one good thing in having a separate root device, a separate device than root device for all of these data options is because this data after some time will exceed this volume for sure, because it's a database. How long can you plan it? You can have
Mm.
100 GB. Now, what if that 100 GB is full in 2 years, 3 years, 4 years time? What will happen? There is a possibility that because of that disk being full, your operating system processes will not be able to load, your operating system will have issues. So to avoid that, we will have it separately right in another system, another disk. Okay, and because it is writing in a separate disk, even if that disk is full, it will no longer be able to impact the existing root device. And if you want, if you are in like in other mechanisms, you can still extend the root device. Sorry, extend that device. Okay, which will internally solve your problem. Okay.
Yeah,
Now, this was all about devices. When we are writing in a separate device, then our root device, it can be a bit costlier, a bit time taking, but it's all worth it. Okay, generally avoid writing everything on your root device, because any impact on the disk device, your data will also be corrupted, or if there is too much of data, your operating system can stop loading itself, because operating system also needs some space, right? If you
yeah.
have completely filled up the space, it will no longer, like, your operating system processes will no longer be will have space to write anything anywhere. Even your file opening is opening in a buffer, so it needs some space,
Some
something
space.
somewhere, right? So that will also be completely full if you do that. Okay,
Okay, yeah.
so this is all about a bit of volumes. Okay, we'll learn deep dive into volumes, like your EBS volumes and other volumes going forward. Currently, we have only seen a bit of description about it. Okay, and not like we did not learn it in depth, but it is like a very sometimes it's a very common question that like that's asked in most of the interviews.
Mm.
Okay, like what is the difference between an EBS and an EFS? What is like what is object storage? Object storage is S3. What is KMS key? Why you are attaching a KMS key? Why is there a need of encryption and all of that? So that is also a common question that's asked in all the interviews, so we'll address those problems as well.